I'm Louise Glickman, and I would like to welcome you all to the very first of 10 programs for our virtual holiday gallery tours. I wanted to give you a little background about your host today, which is Sandhill Artists Collective, a group of us out here in Biltmore Lake. About a year ago today, 35 of us got together, all folks who are interested in art, enthusiasts, professionals, gallery managers and owners. And we started sharing our art ideas and processes with each other. And it became quickly apparent that most were primarily interested in marketing, selling, and showing. And they wanted to do a gallery tour, an open studio event, and along came COVID. So I teamed up with my tech advisor, guru, and close friend, Bob Ware, and we decided we would do an online blog. And that came out last May. It comes once a month to your inbox. We don't bother you for money or anything else, but you get to see 3 featured artists each month and news and commentary. But we have no money. Bob and I have funded this ourselves. So we decided it was time to at least go ahead and raise a little funds. And that's how the holiday virtual gallery tours began. So that's the background. We hope you'll go online and subscribe free to our blog once a month. And we hope that you'll sign on every day to enjoy the 10 programs from the 10 galleries, and also to continue to tell your friends. If you miss one, we will send you a video, but we would like to have you with us live. So Bob, back to you for some housekeeping.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. So we are pretty excited about this. There's a lot of work that's gone into this. I'm Bob Ware. I do design the Sandhill Artists Collective website, and I'm the technical host of the webinar today. So our panelists today are from the River Arts District, and they will be presenting some live demos here, as well as some videos, and discussing the role of the River Arts District in Asheville's art scene, as well as some of the artists' intentions, motivations, the way they create their art. This is a live broadcast. We may have some glitches. Bear with us. Hopefully it'll be an enjoyable part of the process. It certainly will be real. So I'm going to turn this over now to Andrea Kulish, who will bring you the artists that you've come to see.
Hi there. Hello. Thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Andrea Kulish, and I'm the marketing chair for the River Arts District Artists. I'm coming to you from my studio here in Asheville, North Carolina, where I make Ukrainian eggs. Here's one of my eggs. It's a goose egg. It's a batik process. That's the back, and that's the side. All the symbols are good wishes. They all have meanings. I'm also the marketing chair for the River Arts District Artists, and I do graphic design. So I'm on my computer a lot. But I'm so excited you're here, and I'm so excited to tell you a little bit more about the River Arts District. I'm going to show you, can you enable the screen sharing again? I'm going to show you a few pictures of some of the buildings here in the Arts District.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Bob. So the River Arts District is a membership organization. We have over 240 artist members. We have 23 buildings full of artists. And this is all in a square mile here in Asheville along the French Broad River. We're not far from downtown Asheville. Asheville is a very arty place. There's a downtown arts district, there's our River Arts District, and there's just arts everywhere you go. The River Arts District artists started about 31 years ago. It started organically when a few artists moved to this area in search of affordable studio space. The area has greatly expanded in the past 10 to 15 years. We are now a very popular destination for locals, tourists, and art collectors. People visit us from around the world. We are open 365 days a year. And we have artists in all different media. The very unique thing about the River Arts District is that you can come here and visit working studios. You can see the art being made. You can meet the artists. You can talk with them, can see their process, and you can bring home a piece of art. And not just the piece of art, but a story. You now have a story. You've met the artist. And not everyone can say that when they purchase a piece of art. So it's very special. And these are some of the buildings. So thanks again for joining us. I'm going to pass this over to Lori Theriault of the Village Potters.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Bob. We are so excited to be here. I am Lori Theriault. I'm a member of the Village Potters Clay Center, also located in the River Arts District. And in our brief time with you, we wanted to give you a little glimpse into our studios, into some of our process, share some of our work with you, and then we're going to have a short chat with our founder, Sarah Wells Rowland. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a studio tour and make sure I have all my buttons clicked.
And welcome to what we fondly call our sanctuary. These are the private working studios of the Village Potters, resident potters, and we are really happy to give you this little tour. We're going to start over here and say hello to Miss Katie.
Hi,
Hey, what you working on?
I am applying dots to a handful of mugs using some watered down clay and a bulb syringe and carefully eyeballing the design. And I made some yesterday, and so I just put it on this little pedestal and apply away. I call them dot pots, and here's some finished dotted mugs.
Beautiful. And the dark blue dots are the dots that have the cobalt in it.
And then it reacts with my glaze and gets these cool runs and movement.
Beautiful. And next to Katie is Sarah Wells Rowland. We're going to be talking to her in just a couple of minutes. So we're going to see her again real soon. Chris Henry is next. She's not here today, but we wanted to be sure to show you some of her gorgeous sgraffito work. She primarily works in her sgraffito with this black and white palette, but she does like a little touch of color every now and then. And you can see that she is very influenced by nature and animals and her love of both. And we love that. Here's some pieces that just came out of the kiln. She also works on a bee theme. Her granddad was a beekeeper, and that was a good influence in her early life. These pieces, once they're rigged for the wall, will be in our gallery and available. Next, we have RBG. And next to RBG, we have Julia. Hey, what's going on, Julia?
I'm putting handles on assorted sizes and shapes of little baking dishes. This is a nice little oval one here. I've got a little loaf pan, one that's not as deep, a little bit larger.
Nice.
One that's actually show you a little bit of the glazes I love to use.
And these guys can go in the oven.
Yes, just with handmade pottery, start with a cold oven and let it heat up with it.
Excellent. Really beautiful work. Julia does gorgeous functional pottery. She teaches some of our classes, and she serves as the technical mentor to our advanced students. Here's some gorgeous luminaries that are going to be in the gallery soon. She has another version of those that she does for our Vessels of Hope program, which is on our website. Next to Julia is Judy Harwood. Judy focuses on alternative firings, and that includes raku, horsehair, and these gorgeous pots, which were done in the Sager method, which basically means they were fired inside another container holding materials that fume to give these gorgeous surface textures, or surface designs rather. Here she's got a cart of pots that are getting ready to be put into mummies and put into the fire. And some of these are also available at the Vessels of Hope page, which you'll see on our website if you go visit our website. I am next to Judy. This is Lori here. And I also focus a lot on functional work, working on some mini pie plates for your favorite holiday pies and pot pies, making single servings. Some oil bottles up there. And in addition to my functional work, I love to do surface carving. And lately my influence is heavily from Van Gogh's Starry Night Sky. And I am putting that texture in all kinds of gorgeous decorative work. This piece is going to be glazed in my next firing, as are those. And I'm also putting it on my ornaments this year. So it's my little ornament tree in process. These sweet little spoons are fully functional and just beautifully carved. And these are a great meditative fun that I'm having. So these will be on the website soon as well. So thank you so much for joining us for this behind the scenes view. I believe now we're going to be showing you some of our finished work.
Happy to show you. I want to share with you some of our finished work, and if we have time, we will try and bring you the Sarah interview. I'm not sure what happened there, but our some of our finished work to get so you can get to know us. There we go. Yeah. So here's the front of our building in case you get the option to come and visit us in Asheville. We would love to have you here. Our galleries feature the work of us, the 6 resident potters. Sarah Wells Rowland is our co-founder with her husband, George. And she has been doing, she's been working in pottery full-time for more than 35 years. She's a member of the Southern Highland Craft Guild and is really known for exquisite forms and glaze mastery. Her work is in collections around the country, really around the world. And many of these pieces are featured on the website or pieces like them. This gorgeous piece, for instance, measures about 20 inches tall. And in another glaze form, you will find it on our website. Judy Harwood, as you saw in the studio tour, focuses on the alternative firings. Her horsehair work is unique in that she works with colored mica slips on the pieces that fume these gorgeous colors when she applies the horsehair and feathers. The sagger pieces, as you saw in our tour, and then she also does sculpture and works with the more traditional, either copper or in this case, white crackle glazes. That's me, I'm Lori. And as you saw, I do like to work in functional forms. I started pottery because of my love for cooking. And now I'm lucky to work with both home and professional chefs. These are the oil bottles you saw in their finished form. And I also do a full line of serviceware in a wax resist design, these featuring swirls. And I also have a favored design of trees. The Vincent work that I'm calling my Vincent series, which is the carved work, I'm putting on just as many forms as I can. And you will see some of that on the website and more after this next firing. Julia Mann, as you saw, her work is functional and based in really classic forms, but she does beautiful details that make them so contemporary, like the carving she did on the exterior of this platter and inside the bowl, the foot treatments that she does to create a really unique profile, and her own glaze mastery that has come after more than 35 years of work in the studio. Christine Henry is our hand builder, and she loves to do the sgraffito, and her exquisite detail in the carvings that she does shows in all of her work. Her hand-built forms that feature the bee themes and all individually hand-carved bees and accents are gorgeous on functional work, and you'll see some tiles and other pieces on the website. And she does commissions often on favored pets if you have a photo. It's really gorgeous work to see. Katie Melly Messersmith is our newest resident potter. Katie attended our advanced program and worked with us as an apprentice. Her work, as you saw, is called dot pots, and the gorgeous dots work well in all of her glazes. And then she also has a beautiful range of work in this cobalt blue. And we really appreciate you letting us share some of our work with you.
1998, I had an idea to change up my life, which was to contact friends that I really admired their work and we have great relationships, and go into creating a collective pottery center together, sharing all the aspects of the business, including our studios and equipment together. And so I found a group of friends and we actually made it happen in 2011.
And now we are entering our 10th year. What has it become?
So it has been an astounding 10 years. And I have to say that every single one of us would say we've worked harder than we ever have in our whole lives. And we have become so many things. We have 3 showrooms where this core group of 6 potters that basically run this whole place with one director that works with us. We have created 3 showrooms to sell our work. We have classes for people within our community. We have a 3-year advanced studies program for people who are becoming professional potters. And we have a clay supply company. And we have our own studios that are permanent here on location.
So there are so many groups working together in collectives and co-ops, creating clay centers. What's unique about the Village Potters?
There's several things that I believe set us apart. One is that as a collective, we've made an agreement that we are committed to each other's success as much as we are our own. And that kind of philosophy has created such a collaborative atmosphere. We speak into each other's work. We share what-if ideas creatively. We support one another in each other's endeavors. And then we do that same thing with our students and with people that we're mentoring. And we just embrace their dreams and we dream share with them. So we do that together all the time here.
And it is wonderful. And so for folks who are watching us from around the country, how can they be a part of the Village Potters?
So because of what happened in this last year with the pandemic, we have recalibrated and created all kinds of new things, a lot of it being online. For example, what we're doing right now, this is unique, but we have an online gallery that we have developed greater than it's ever been, with lots of work on sale. Each individual's pots are available. We have a Kazagama kiln and that work is available. We teach online now, so we have a studio that's fully dedicated to online teaching. And we teach classes, we teach workshops, we teach for children. We just have so much going on here, and we are so grateful for what's developed in this year.
And we invite all of you to come and visit us. Take advantage of our online classes or offerings, but come and see us in Asheville. And I thank you so much for your patience with us working out our tech difficulties. And again, thank you, Louise. Thank you, Bob, for inviting us to take part. And I am happy now to pass the torch over to Bridget Benton at 310 Arts.
Hello, everybody. So I'm just going to assume that you can all hear me unless I get some kind of mad waving otherwise. So my name is Bridget Benton, and I am an artist at 310 Art in the River Arts District. And I also serve on the River Arts District Artists Board. So yeah, I moved to Asheville about 5 years ago and just dove in with both feet. My primary medium is encaustic. And that is a Greek word that means burned in. It's because we use heat and fire. So I guess that's why they put me right after the Potters, right? We're like doing this whole fire theme together. The process involves a medium, which is filtered beeswax, and a tree resin, just a tree sap, right? And that tree sap raises the melting point of the wax so that it's way more durable as a paint than you would expect. Now, the Greeks came up with this, why we have a Greek word, right, encaustic. So the Greeks came up with this like several thousand years ago. And we know this because we have found pieces of encaustic work intact that have lasted that long and are beautiful and are in museums. Marvelous, marvelous kind of a medium. What I do with this particular medium, I have a background as a collage artist, okay? And I do a couple of different techniques that are sort of form the basis for my work. I do image transfer, where I take photography, and these are my pictures, right? And embed them in the encaustic and build layers and layers on top of them. So this piece is this is a beginning, right? This would be the bones of the piece, which is this transferred image of this woman playing with her hair. And I will keep adding on and building on to this image to kind of create what I think of as a symbolic narrative. So that's fancy art talk. We don't have to pay a lot of attention to that, right? But another thing that I do, I'm really fascinated with nature and leaves and natural forms. So another thing that I do a lot of is nature print. And I do this directly into the encaustic. And you're going to have a chance today to see me work with both of these methods. Okay, I have some other samples here, getting really close, right? Because you're right here in the space with me. I'm using my little tiny phone, okay? But I've got these small pieces that are also the encaustic nature print that I do. So you're going to get to see some different examples. Okay, so now we're going to go through this magical transition, right? Where this single device will suddenly give you a demo view, but you're going to have to kind of follow through the tunnel of mystery with me in order for that to happen. All right. Woo! Look, la da da. So that was quick. I'm going to try to make sure that I've got a good view of that you've got a good view of everything that's going on here. And I'm just going to tilt this a little bit here so that you can see, with any luck, you can see my palette. Okay, so here is my palette over here, full screen. See, it does this tilting thing, okay, which makes it difficult. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go wild here. I'm going to take it off the stand. Alrighty, so this is my palette, okay, and you can see here, it's warm. This is a pancake griddle, okay, so it's heated up close to 200 degrees, right? And so this is the melted beeswax with the pigment in it over here. This is just the plain medium. So this is melted beeswax with the tree resin, okay, mixed in. Alrighty, and then here, look at all this stuff I've got laid out here that I'm going to be working with as we do the demonstration. All right, so now I'm going to get you back into demo view so that you can see my hands. And I can do this without actually holding the phone, because while I do have certain magical creative powers, the ability to hold the phone and do the work with my hands, not so great. Alrighty, so I've prepared a few things that I want to show you here. The first thing I'm going to demonstrate is doing an image transfer. All right, so what I've got here is a photocopy of a photograph that I took. So this is a toner copy, which means that that powder is sitting on top, okay, of the paper, right? So I'm going to be able to transfer this toner directly into this waxy surface, all right? So I'm working on kind of a panel. It's a hard, rigid surface here, okay? It's bumpy. With some waxy bumps there. All right. So this is this has a few layers of encaustic medium on it, as well as some paint, and I've kind of created almost a sky-like background here. Now, the next thing I'm going to need to do before I can do the image transfer is to warm it up. Okay. So I'm actually heating this surface with what is essentially a creme brulee torch. Okay. Now I'm going to put this face down. Okay, so the surface of the wax is warm. And so right now what I'm doing, I'm just burnishing that image. I'm using pressure, okay, to really rub that image right into the wax. And you can see I'm using, this is a highly technical tool, okay? This is a spoon. This is what we call it. Or we can call it, if we're using art terminology, a burnishing tool, okay? But it's also just a spoon. All righty. So really using a lot of pressure to really try to get that image pressed into the wax. Okay. Now I'm going to hit it with some water. The purpose of this, right, is to dampen that paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically rub the paper away and just leave the toner on the surface. And this is a little bit magical. And I'm rubbing so vigorously that I'm betting the whole camera is shaking. We are not actually having an earthquake here. Okay. I can pull this away. Moisten it up some more. And continue to rub it away. Now, this, and one of the great things about an image transfer, in my opinion, is that it's not perfect, right? So you can probably see here, there's some places where it rubbed away, okay? Now, I actually kind of like that, okay? For me, it adds to this kind of mysterious, dreamy, intuitive sort of a quality that encaustic has, right? We're building up layers of wax and you don't see through them perfectly, right? There's a little bit of a really soft quality that can add. Okay, so if I was going to keep working with this, I would build up more and more layers on top of it, but I just wanted to give you a sense of sort of what that process is like, okay? The other thing that I'm going to show you today is working with the encaustic nature print. I got invited, oh gosh, probably 10 years ago now, to teach encaustic to the Nature Printing Society, which is an international organization of people who like to put ink on plants and fish and make prints of them. Okay, so it's a really quirky, wonderful group of people. And I just immediately fell in love with them. So I did some classes with them, and I took classes and have just fallen in love with really working with natural forms. Alrighty, so I've got this all set up, you know, like the kitchen, so I can show you the process sort of in a time lapse. So I can do this on panel, or I can do this on smaller pieces of paper, which I then mount and mat so that you're able to get, you know, so that people are able to get like a small piece of original art that's really affordable, okay? Whereas if I was doing it on panel and they had to be presented in a different way, it's just not as accessible. I really believe in art being affordable and accessible to as many people as possible. Alrighty, so I've got this. This is just a piece of a heavy watercolor paper. It's got a couple of coats of the encaustic medium on it already. And I'm just gonna come in here and brush on some paint. I'm gonna throw in a couple of colors that I'm feeling kind of happy about right now. So I guess I'm sort of doing that Bob Ross happy colors thing, right? Everybody smile, feel the loveliness. Okay. I don't want to get this too heavy here, because again, I'm going to come back in and heat it up, okay? One of the great things I can do is I can use this flame almost like a brush and sort of move it around and get these really marvelous kind of marbled effects, okay? Now, while it's warm, but not molten, see, look at that. It was still too hot. It was completely melted, got it all over my hands. Now, I will tell you that I burn myself way more in the kitchen than I ever do in the studio, okay? So even though I just had a torch on that, I didn't burn myself when I touched it, okay? But I can just come back in, I can patch that up a little bit, add a little bit more, these other colors. Okay, I kind of like building this sort of mottled, layered tone here. I'm going to come in, just melt that down. Now, every layer of encaustic paint that goes down needs to be fused or heated up to the layer underneath it. Okay, so again, this is where that idea of burned in or encaustic comes from. Okay, is that we're constantly heating the layers. Now I'm looking at this and it's still a little bit really shiny right there in the middle part. So I just need to wait for it to cool a little bit. In some ways, encaustic is instant gratification, and in some ways it is very zen. So you have to wait for things to be just the right temperature, and yet things do cool pretty rapidly. Alrighty, so now I'm going to take a leaf. Okay, I've got this lovely maple. Okay, I like to use leaves that are a little bit leathery. Okay, so this one I picked up a couple weeks ago and then I kept it in the refrigerator. Okay, yeah, when you're a plant printer, there are all kinds of wacky things in your refrigerator. The kids have just learned to like ignore it. You know, they're like, oh, we'll just push that bag of leaves aside and get the soda. Okay, but I can go ahead and press this down. This has got some good veins. It's still got a fair bit of moisture in it. It'll probably break apart a little bit, but not too much. Okay. Then I'm going to take a piece of wax paper, right? And now I'm going to, again, burnish it in, okay? Because I'm trying to press the veins down in there, okay? So that it's nice and pressed in there. And then I'm going to come in with a different color. I'm kind of liking this sky blue, I think. Maybe I'll use that. And I'm just kind of coming over the edges. Okay. And then I'm going to heat it up again. Okay, so y'all can start taking bets now about whether the leaf catches on fire or not. Ha-ha! So I was able to do that pretty well there and nothing caught on fire. Now I can lift the leaf out, okay? And because it was still a little bit leathery, it came up really nicely. It didn't break off in there. Okay, I'm going to lift this up, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but we've got the vein impressions from the leaf in there. And I need to let this cool a little bit, but through the magic of television, I already have one set up here, and I can show you how I bring out that vein detail. Okay. Now, this technique can be used with a lot of different things. You don't have to just use leaves. Folks will, you know, press in fabrics or carve into the surface while it's a little bit warm. You've got just a lot of options. So I put on a glove, okay, because now I'm working with some oil paint. Oil and encaustic are compatible. And this is a blender stick that makes it easier for the oil paint to kind of go in there. And then I've got, this is some oil stick, okay? So it's like a slightly waxier, denser oil paint, okay? And this is gonna look kind of messy at first, but then it will be magical, all right? So I'm just gonna rub this in, okay? I've got some cobalt turquoise. I may grab some Prussian blue, because really, who doesn't love Prussian blue, right? It should just be everywhere. And it does. It gets all over everything. Okay. Now, oh, see, look at that. Look at how rich that color is. All right, so I'm really just rubbing that in there. Okay, it's not going to stay like that, all right? Those of you who are getting nervous, some of you might be like, no, the entire thing went away. It's all right. Take a deep breath. Okay, so I'm going to come in with a little bit more of this blender. Okay, and now I'm going to start wiping back. Okay, and what you can see is that all that vein detail is showing up now. And it just becomes this really interesting, you know, it suddenly becomes so much more interesting. And like you can see here, so this is a piece that I did a while back, slightly different color combination, and there's a little bit of music in the background there too. So I can layer different things in. So once this one cools down a little bit more, I'll do the same thing with this one and, you know, use a little bit of color to bring out the vein detail. I've also got this one, which is prepped and ready to go. Alrighty, so is there anything that anybody had? You know, we're doing the main Q&A at the end there. Just wondering if, before I switch views back, if anybody had any specific questions related to that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch back. See if I can do that.
Somebody asked, what is a blender mixture?
Okay, so the paint sticks, the oil sticks that I use are from a company called R&F, and they produce encaustic paints, and they also produce these oil sticks. And so essentially what this blender is, it's the medium that the pigment goes into for the oil sticks. So it's like a little bit of wax and some, you know, some high grade oil, and it just gives it a little bit more fluidity and allows me to move the paint around a little bit more smoothly. It oftentimes will have a little bit of a dryer in it as well, so that the oil stick will dry a little bit more quickly. Okay, great. I didn't stop the video, so you had a brief moment of my ceiling. Okay, here in my studio. So thank you very much for checking this out. As you may guess, I do teach workshops at 310 Art. We've had to stop while we were in COVID mode, but we're going to be expanding our classroom and improving the ventilation. And I do a number of encaustic classes. I love teaching. I love sharing the wonderfulness of this medium with people. And I believe in the follow-up email, there's also going to be some information about 310 Art, which is the gallery where I teach. And so I just saw that question, do I do online classes? I have not started doing that yet. I have been incredibly nervous about the technology, which, as you can see here from today, why I might be a little nervous about that. You know, I know how to do it in person, and doing it online is a little bit trickier. One of the things in my in-person classes that I do is that I also provide you with all of the materials. Encaustic is not a cheap setup. And so trying to get you set up safely at home with everything that you need to do one of my classes would be cost prohibitive. So I've been thinking about doing ongoing classes for people who already have some experience in encaustic. I've been working in this medium since 2006. So if there's a mistake, I've probably made it. So I can help folks through with that. And I did also hear, you know, some people might be curious to see some more of my work. I'm in the process of launching my new website. So most of my work is either at 310 Art Gallery, or it is stacked up in my office where I am trying to get it onto my new website. But I believe that Bob will have some information about in the follow-up email with links to both of those sites, which will give you an opportunity to see some more of my work. Okay, I would love to go ahead and pass it back to Andrea and I believe Viola. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but I think that's just a gorgeous name. So thank you so much, Bob.
My pleasure.
Hi, everybody. We are here with Viola Spells. This is Viola.
Welcome to Zenobia Studio. When I was in art school, I became fascinated with the concept of line. And I thought, in thinking about how I was going to design my jewelry, I thought about my mother and my grandmother, who were both crocheters, and they both taught me how to crochet when I was a young girl growing up here in Asheville. So when I came out of art school, I thought I would start doing crochet wire. And you can see here, these are some of my designs here. These are the designs with gemstones. This is aquamarine that you're seeing now. And I'm going to show you how here's an earring with aquamarine, but it's on a darker wire. And I started doing this part of the earring so I can do this part. So after I put my beads on first, and then I use a crochet hook, and this is a 26 gauge wire. And then I bring my bead up in place according to my pattern, crocheting with wire. And I wanted to do art that represented women. This is what women did. They decorated their homes with crochet. They crochet clothes for their family. So I wanted that to represent what women did in the society. And the interactions of the wire represents how women culturally interact with the community. They plan out social events. They do all of the home, keeping the home together. Forgot to bring my stone up. And it also fulfilled my experimentation with line. And the negative and the positive spaces of wire help to keep the materials light and airy. It's not heavy, it's very light. So if you're wearing this earring, you don't have to worry about something heavy hanging on your ear. All right, this will give you some idea as to how I do this. Okay.
Thank you, Viola. That was great.
All right, and the next style is tubes. And as I work the pieces, I put them on like a knitting needle if I want a certain small size, and then I hammer it to work harden it so that when the piece is finished, it's strong, it doesn't crush. I mean, it'll crush if you put it on the floor and step on it, but if you handle it with ease, it will maintain its shape. This is a larger tube piece. I start out small and I increase the stitches, and as the tube gets larger and large until I come to the center, then I decrease the stitches until I come back small again. And here's another bracelet, and I do the same thing but smaller. Now, these tubes are my link necklaces, and it can be worn 3 ways. It can be worn double here in the front, or it can be worn long, or I have a snap where I snap it and you take it apart and you can bring it close to your neck and then have one piece hanging down in the middle. So it can be worn 3 different ways.
I'm showing the one that you're wearing. It's
Yes,
beautiful.
this is one in gold, black, silver. I have all different colors, whatever color. Anything you see here you like, I can make it in various colors and various sizes. All right, the next style, we can do the balls. I do balls, and they're made on a form, a wooden form. And I first got interested in wanting to make art with my hands because when I was growing up here in Asheville, the first arts and craft fair I went to downtown, and I was so mesmerized by the things that the people were doing. I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what at the time. It took over the years. And then my daughter went to a school that had a very strong arts program. She had actually had a jewelry program in her class. And I went there that day and I was just mesmerized. I knew that that was something that I really wanted to do, but I couldn't do it then because it was just too much. Teenage daughter, a challenging job. I was a librarian then, but I took classes I was living in Philadelphia then, and so I took classes at the University of the Arts, and I knew then that I really liked it. So I said, I have to wait till I retire. And I went back to school at East Tennessee State in Johnson City, and I did have my BFA in jewelry. So that's been since 2004. So I've been making crochet wire jewelry ever since then. This is another style, which is my crunch. I call it my crunch style. And this is made with very fine wire. And this one has mother of pearls in the pieces, crystals. And then when I finish it, I just crunch it up. I just crunch it and it maintains its style. And that's another piece of scrunch, and that has glass red, pink, and burgundy glass beads. So if you're interested in any of the pieces, just come down to Zenobia Studio. I'm here every Saturday during COVID-19 time. And talk to me and I can make up anything you want. Thank you.
Bob, do you want me to step in here?
I think this would be a good point. Come on in.
So we would love to have any questions and answers either by chat or Q&A. If any of you would like to ask some questions now, I know that some of you that are on the line here live or vacation close to us, places like Cashiers. And I urge you, when COVID is over and we can all take off our masks, that you come and visit us here and let us give you personal tours of places like the River Arts District. I'd like to thank Viola and Bridget and my wonderful friends at Village Potters. Village Potters did a special training with people from Yaya. The kids from Yaya spent a summer here working with Village Potters. So there's that connectivity. I would like to invite you to go to www.sandhillartists.com. And that is how you will, well, you went there to get the ticket for today. But if you keep scrolling down, there's a place where you can subscribe free by giving us just your information. In 1 year, we've grown to over 400. And after today, we hope to double that in 2021. And you can see each month our featured artists, art, news, commentary from around the country. So submit and comment and watch for more. We thank you very much for supporting this project today, and your funds will go for us to be able to hire a social media guru in the future, which Bob and I cannot do. So, Bob, would you like to close?
Yes, thank you everybody for your patience with my technical glitch there. I keep telling people that this is my first rodeo and we're getting steadily better, but unfortunately what I see on my screen as the host is utterly different from what you see. So we'll try not to have those mistakes in the forthcoming ones. The links for the artists that you've seen today, I have put those links on the chat window at the moment. You should be able to either grab those and copy them and paste them. We'll also be following this up with a little thank you email that you should be getting tomorrow, and we will put much of this information again in that email. So thank you all very much, and please join us again tomorrow.
Bob,
Yes.
in closing, there are a few questions in chat, and people really enjoyed this, and they want to know how to take classes. So by all means, go to the websites, Shop the Holidays, and call and email Viola, Bridget, and the Village Potters and let them answer your questions directly. We do not have a way to live chat, but we will continue to work on all these little tech things, and we hope we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, Andrea will be back, and we're going to introduce you to 3 more artists at Pink Dog Creative.
So thank you all. Have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow.